I certainly didn't think that I would become a researcher. Even when I was studying at the university, I was interested in many things. And it's only with the discovery of computers that I discovered that they were an instrument for investigating language. And so then I became fascinated, and I couldn't do what I wanted to do, and I kept going and going and going, and this is how I became a researcher. My first research theme was language, and but from there on I moved to knowledge representation, to vision, behavior, and then I went back to language. So it's a kind of whole tour of the capacities of the mind. In the mind, everything is connected together. You cannot really split perception or vision from meaning or language. And so I discovered that I had to always go one step further and investigate one more aspect of this incredible complexity of the mind. Yeah, in the beginning, most research on language was just about how does it work? How can you parse a sentence? How can you produce a sentence? So just the processes that were involved. But then when more progress was made, then people started to work on learning language. I think that the next question is really, where does language come from? So it's to ask about the origins of language, because often it's only when you ask a question of origins that you truly understand something. Like in biology, they first classified animals and species, and it's only when they start to ask, where do they come from, that the whole of biology started to evolve and to become more interesting, and to go deeper also. So this is a very new approach, because many linguists, for example, they still describe the language that they see today, but they don't think so much about the processes that give rise to language. And once you think about the origin of language, you have to start thinking about the origins of meaning. Or any kind of language-based interface, could be between a robot and a human, but also just between television and a human, or a car and a human. And the interfaces that we have today are very much command-based. It's like you push a button and something happens. And so people say, well, instead of pushing a button, you say stop, or you say forward, or something like that. But actually, human language, the way we communicate is much more fluid. We adapt. We try to guess the meaning that somebody else may have. So it doesn't have to be exact. The words do not have to be exact. And so this is what I think we can learn from researching the origins of language. We can learn about adaptive interfaces. And so we are already doing that, actually, doing experiments in building interfaces for devices that are using the technologies that we developed in these more fundamental research projects. But there are other applications, like one of them is for language learning, human language learning, to build tutoring systems and to make them much more flexible and much more intelligent tutoring than just like repeating a word and the kind of drill exercises that you get today. I guess my hobby is music. For the music, what I do is composition. I like to compose in a classical style, to really understand how they, because I like that music, but by writing it myself, you even more understand the feel also. You feel more strongly. There, I think there's a lot of relationship, because the structure of music is highly complex, so creating a piece of music is like writing a text. And it's a very similar process. Of course, they're very different also. But I think that the act of creation of music, you know, because I write for orchestra and voices, you know, really notes on pieces of paper. So you have to conceive of it, and it has to be, you know, a very dynamic process, very similar, I think, to language. Well, I have many dreams. You know, the parts of them are to write a book or find some sort of way to make people more aware of the beauty of communication and the incredible complexity of the human mind. Now, I have many other dreams, but these are at least two.